Ladies and gents, today's tactic is absolute proof of why you need to get your hands into a squad and into the tactic itself match by match to get a much better result. This is a tactic that was created specifically for Newcastle, and we're using Newcastle, and we'll see how it works. Let's take a look. Yes, ladies and gents, we are switching up the teams. We are doing Tottenham, Wolves, and Newcastle this time around, and specifically, this is a Newcastle tactic. Let's get into the tactic itself. You can see how they finished, but it is the Newcastle 4-3-3 Magisk Mogens. I have no idea what that means, but we have information on the Steam Workshop, which is where I got this from, which is fantastic. So as you can see, it is a balanced mentality. I have no idea what kind of tactical style this is. But it is a 4-3-3, and it shows you in the description of how to kind of play it little by little. So mentality is set to balance, but you can go to offensive if you're down by 2 goals, if they get a red card, if you're up by a little. So they tell you that at the start of the save, you get a couple of good center backs, but you might need a couple more. So they give you a little bit of information. It's not a huge drawn out, diatribe of things that you want to try or what you want to use, but according to the person who created, they're in season 3 and doing really well. And in the first 2 seasons, they were second in the league both times. So overall, doing a good job. But I wanted to do this in our own tactical style. As you can see, let's go back to the table. We are using, again, Tottenham, Wolves, and Newcastle. And sadly, plug and play, Newcastle did not work at all for this. Newcastle lie in 13th with 13, 6, and 19 with 45 points. Only 6 points above relegation. Not great at all. Tottenham and Wolves doing much better though. 5th and 6th, 18, 9, and 11 with 63 points. And Wolves 11 points down with 52 at 14, 10, and 14. But overall, a Newcastle specific tactic just didn't work with Newcastle. And Everton, they still get the Conference League, but they're relegated dead last in the league. That is funny. I'm sorry if you're an Everton fan, but that is funny. But going back to the tactic itself, as you can see, it is a sweeper keeper in support, 2 wingbacks on each side in support, 2 central defenders in defend, a deep lying playmaker in defend, a Mazzala in attack, a box-to-box in support, inverted winger on the left in attack, a winger on the right in attack, and an advanced forward in attack up top. In possession, attacking with his standard, everything is standard. Passing directness is shorter, tempo slightly higher, mixed crosses work the ball into the box. In transition, counter press, counter, distribute quickly, distribute to the fullbacks and the center backs, and take short kicks. And then out of possession, high press line of engagement, higher defensive line, trigger press more often, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. No opposition instructions, and that is it. As you can see with Tottenham starting out, first 2 matches were fantastic. 3-1 over Aston Villa and West Ham, and then just losing out by not much at all. Overall, a spotty first couple of months, but then you get into a fantastic October, and look at all these matches. That is a hell of a lot of matches. Only losses against Liverpool 0-1, and then a draw against Brentford 2-2. So finishing out the Champions League Group G, you could see they did have a fantastic run in the Champions League so far. EFL Cup 3rd round, Burton Albion, Everton 6-2. But coming back, winning against Wolves in the EFL Cup 4th round, so the Wolves dropped there, losing out against Wolves in 1-2 just a couple days later, and then having a fairly spotty end of the run. January, February wasn't too bad with only 2 losses. March was a little spotty. April was fantastic. You can see they continued their run in the Champions League to Man City, unfortunately. 2-1 at home, but losing out 0-2 away from home, and that drops them out. FA Cup semi-final, winning against Liverpool, and then winning a trophy, 2-0 over Brentford in the FA Cup final. And as you can see, they did lose out in the EFL Cup round. Where was that? Right here, 2-2 against Brentford, funny enough. I mean, FM just likes to throw the same team at you over and over and over again. And finishing out with an FA Cup final, you've done fairly well with a single trophy. So I would say so far this tactic is not too bad. Wolves had a much tougher first half of the season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in total. One of those was the EFL Cup 2nd round, and then you've got the EFL Cup 3rd round against Portsmouth. But overall, not great at all. Second half, you have a much stronger run. You got undefeated from this Portsmouth match all the way through Fulham, and then a Tottenham loss. There you go. and then a Tottenham win right after. But a couple of, not a great start to April, but a fantastic finish. And then overall, a fantastic May. So doing okay in the second half. That first half really hurt, though, from Bournemouth all the way down to Brentford, and a Leicester loss in there as well as Liverpool. So the first half of the season really did kill them to get any higher in the table, but they really did bring it up second half. They are in Europa spots, sixth place, I believe. So, a lot of these wins, a fantastic May and a fantastic end of April, they really did a great job into bringing up into that sixth spot. Without this, wow, that could have been a heck of a lot worse. And then Newcastle, they got crushed. Chelsea and Wolves, 6-3, 5-3. And then, the first half of the season, not great at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins at least. But unfortunately, one of them against Rotherham, you got far too many losses here in this first half. And it doesn't look like the second half gets all that much better. You do lose out in the FL Cup fourth round against Aston Villa. FA Cup in the fourth round against Manchester United. A horrific February right there, but just spotty overall. 4-0 over Leeds, and then the rest of May is just awful. So yeah, Newcastle not doing all that well. Transfer-wise, you could see they did bring a couple of people in. Garang Kuol from Central Coast Mariners for $300K. Arden Jashari from Luzern, 4.4 million. Shakir from Trabzonspor for 16 million, and Javi Galan from Celta Vigo, 24.5. Loris Karius is out on a free, but they did send out a bunch on loan, as usual. Wolves transfers had no one. They didn't bring a single player in, and the only person out, Real Madrid, picking up Ruben Neves for 55 million, and they still didn't bring in anyone. Still, finishing in sixth, though, is not too bad for that. And then Tottenham picking up Coop Miners for 20.5. From Atalanta, Stefan de Vrij from Inter, 7.5, Maximilian Arnold from Wolfsburg, 27.5, and then Juan Bernat from PSG, 3.2. So they've been busier than we've seen in the past. And then out, we've only got Fagan Walcott for 215, and then Niall John for 105. Everyone else's loans. So overall, they've been pretty busy. So as we move to the Prem stats, most goals, you can see Newcastle, Tottenham, and Wolves all in there, 70, 64, and 61. Newcastle at 70. That is pretty interesting to see, as low down as they are. Fewest shots against Tottenham, most possession, you get the standard. Most dribbles made, Newcastle with 729. Fewest conceded, Tottenham with 41, and I believe they're here too, sixth place with 13 shutouts completely. And then most tackles won is Newcastle with 791, so they are doing the defensive efforts. Best passing completion, 89, 88. Most shots for Newcastle, Wolves, and Tottenham, 572 down to 535. So they're all kind of tight in there. And then most points per game, as you would expect, Tottenham in fifth, 166. Wolves tied with sixth with 137. And then there we go. Newcastle's Isaac with 23 goals, second in the league against Holland's 49. Most assists, you got Trippier at Newcastle with 14. Hongman Son with 13, and then, no one else. So most match player of the match awards, Isaac with 5, and that's really it. You got some good passing completion rates by all three teams. Most dribbles made, Traore and St. Maximin from Newcastle. Fewest conceded, there you go. Shakir with 32 in 17. Ooh. And most shutouts, Hugo Lloris with 12. So overall, not too bad. Guedes with most tackles, 1. Most key passes, both number 1 and 2 with Matinho and Trippier, 128 and 118 apiece. Most shots, Isaac, there you go, 140. Dang. Raul Jimenez with 93, and then most goals, as we said, Isaac. So overall, this seems to be a little more balanced than the previous tactics with the other teams. So I'm kind of enjoying this so far. But Tottenham's player stats for the entire season, Harry Kane with 29 goals, Basuma with 716 highest average rating, Son with 17 most assists, and then Basuma, Richarlison, and Harry Kane with 4 player of the match awards apiece. Wolves, Raul Jimenez with 15 goals in total, 723 for Traore, highest average rating. That's pretty good. Most assists, Moutinho with 10, and then most player of the match awards, Mateus Nunez with 4, and then he's off to Real Madrid. And that was 4 player of the match awards for the first half of the season, and then nothing for the rest. That's pretty tough for the rest of the team. And then finishing out for this tactics namesake, Newcastle, top goal scorer as always, Alexander Isak with 27 goals. Highest average rating with Isak, 722. Most assists, Trippier with 14. And most player of the match awards, 7 with Isak. So overall, players are doing fairly well, but plug and play tactic did not work at all for Newcastle. It worked as you would expect for Tottenham and Wolves. Tottenham you'd expect somewhere up in the top 6 or thereabouts. Wolves I think are pretty much up there as well. Newcastle should have been up there, but unfortunately it did not work. So this is definitely an example of where you need to get your hands into the mix, into the weeds, and you need to sit there match by match and manipulate things. As the game goes on and you're scoring more, you're scoring less, you need to change things on your own to kind of get things in gear. So again, the description sort of tells you that it's not a long thing that they could have done, but it gives you something at least to start with. And then, yeah, take it, use it for what it's worth, try it out and see how it works. Let us know. But definitely not one to just plug and play and then do your own thing on the side. But anyway, that's it for me, Sapien FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.